All right. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Tonight's message, Aman. Shalom, Raishan Shalom, Kwam Yashlel, Tada, and I Kofi, Quality of Servants of Christ. Shalom here. Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. We appreciate your presence. You joining us on this evening, and come on in. Hopefully, you're ready to have a grand old time, and hopefully, your day has gone well. Some of you have been with us for early rise of Bible study sessions, some other things that we have done today, and we thank you guys for hanging in there. We appreciate you. Hopefully, all is well with you. And you guys have been safe on your travels. And going to get into today's message. I was asked a specific question today. And so we'll make sure we get into that specific question. We give all honor and praise once again to Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Tonight, we are going to answer a question somewhat. We could go in this, obviously, for a long time and do probably a whole series on this at some point. But I was asked by somebody who's in a leadership position or an environment with us at Service of Christ. They asked me a specific question as far as who are the Gentiles. Give me a second if you're on TikTok. Hold on one second. Got to make sure. I think the storm is over enough to where we should finally be able to use the Wi-Fi. So hopefully that'll help out with signal some, since signal was iffy this rise. So prayerfully, we have a better signal for you guys today than we had, or this evening that we had. So hopefully you guys will be able to check us out. But tonight we're going to talk about who are the Gentiles. And we're going to use a lost book, if you will, not part of the Apocrypha, but a lost book nonetheless, a book that our brothers have been going over. And we're going to share a little bit of information with everybody else and come right out of the book of Jasher. So if you do not have the actual physical book, if you want to get the PDF, we're going to go to Jasher chapter 90, and we're going to answer the question, really an age-old question at this point, and one that you probably heard many people preach about, talk about, and usually come from a New Testament or Septuagint Gentile or a Gentilic perspective, so to speak. But today I'm going to go to the book of Jasher, and we're going to read chapter 90, and in reading it, we'll be able to comprehend a couple of things that maybe we hadn't been able to comprehend before. So if you have the book of Jasher, or if you can go to your device, or if you can go online, look at the PDF. If you want to download the PDF, maybe you already have it, whatever the case might be, we're going to the book of Jasher, and we're going to look at chapter 90. So feel free to go ahead and go there if you'd like to. How you doing, Lori? How you doing, Stephen? How you doing, Sister Joy? How you doing, Snap? Amen. Okay. I feel like you reached out to me, Stephen, and I didn't reach back out. Might have to try again for tomorrow. Or maybe if it's not too late, I got something after the live session that I have to do, a coaching session. However, maybe we can still try and talk briefly this evening just to kind of talk things through. If not, we'll make sure that we get you tomorrow. How you doing, Big Brother Thomas, Sister Monica, Divine Mother, Minister Joseph, Sister Sage, Brother Jermaine, Lottie Dottie, everybody, Sister Nadine, if I didn't say so already. So we're going to go into the book of Jasher, chapter 19. And once again, today we are speaking specifically about who are the Gentiles. And a lot of times, once again, we come from a very modern perspective. How you doing, Sister Nadine? We come from a very modern perspective concerning this. I want to go to the book of Jasher because it will help you to get the origin, right? If you want to know who a Gentile is, right? Now, I get what people mean when they say spiritually we're all Gentiles at some point because you're trying to say we all didn't believe, and therefore we all had to be grafted in. But Gentile, just like we talk about Israel, right? Israel is talking about a people. You can be grafted in, but you still must be part of the people, right? The nation. There is a Gentile people. There are a Gentile nation. Oh, we did have it set up for tomorrow. Okay, cool. I was sitting there, I was looking at your name. I was like, oh no, I know it was Monday or Tuesday. One of them. Yeah, praise God. How you doing, Romac? So let's go there. How you doing, Sister Sherry? Right. And those in the New Jersey area, New York area, we've been making sure people have been asking a lot, saying, hey, we want to come on and on board, and we want to make sure that we're meeting up and we got people's information. So I've been making sure that I've been giving everybody's information, and especially those that did the actual meetup when we were up there. Prayerfully, everybody's contacting each other, but other people, we're trying to get them connected and stuff too. So please, man, please, sir, make sure that you're diligent with that, right? I just want to put that out there, that you should be receiving calls, or you've been asked to call other people, or ministerial staff has been reaching out, or our gracious hostess, Sister Brianna, will be reaching out, different things like that. How you doing, Darius? Thanks for being on. So does everybody have that up before we get into today, before we start reading? We said we're going to go to the book of Jasher, the 90th chapter, Jasher chapter 90. Does everybody have that up? Are you with us? Let me know. Say amen. Say I'm with you. If you got to type it in real quick, if you got to Google online, Jasher, PDF, whatever, and then go there, hit up chapter 90. But I want to make sure we read this together. I want to make sure that we have this together, right? Because a lot of people talk about the Gentiles and this and that and all that. You hear all these different things, and you hear about Edom and you hear about Esau and all. So we want to actually see what happens. You with? Okay, just read. You got it. How you doing, Brother Terrence? All righty. Shalom, Minister Joseph. So we're going to the book of Jasher, chapter 19. I was asked by somebody today, and the ministerial staff, they said, hey, could you please make sure you go over, they said, who are the Gentiles? Right? And actually, I'm going to touch on something that people ask me a lot too. Who is Edom? Who is Esau? We're going to touch on it tonight. I'm going to give you some stuff. You can go down a rabbit hole, but I want to give you some receipts. I'm going to give you some things that help you out. All right. So if you get a chance, we got one person that just said they're there. Is everybody right? I'm going to give everybody an opportunity. The book of Jasher, chapter 19. Matter of fact, if you're with us on YouTube, I'm going to try and see if I can copy and paste the link for you. So if you want to go while we're on YouTube, you can literally read what I'm reading and scroll to what I'm scrolling from. If you're on YouTube, you can look it up for yourself. If you want to look up the YouTube recording later on, you can look it up. Matter of fact, what I will do is I will even put it on Patreon. Right. So I will let you guys know right now. I'm going to Patreon right now. I'm going to make sure if you're on Patreon, you can use this link. And I'm going to make sure that you guys have it. Okay. Okay. I'm making sure now so that you can look it up in your own time. Hey, hold on one second. Hold on one second. And I'm going to make sure I put even the link so you guys can go back. You can listen to this. You can read the book of Jasher. So if you're on Patreon, you got the whole thing lined up for you. All right. So there you go. One of the great things about being on Patreon, you can get some things right there for you, right? That little extra sometimes. Okay. All right. So we got it on there. We're going to the book of Jasher. So the book of Jasher, you can just type in PDF Jasher or type in the book of Jasher PDF. And you can just go ahead and go to chapter 90. All right. I want to make sure everybody's there. Okay. So nobody can say I'm making stuff up, right? Somebody come to you, oh, here you guys are saying stuff that doesn't make sense, or somebody else is telling you the Edomites are this, or the Gentiles are this. We're going to read who the Gentiles are. Now, I'm going to have to fill in some blanks for you, right? But we're going to read who the Gentiles are. And we're going to chapter 90, chapter 90. How you doing, Jimmy? Chapter 90, okay? Going to the book of Jasher, we're going to look at chapter 90. All right. All right. So we got enough time. Chapter 90. How you doing, Divine Soul? How you doing, Brother Ali? How you doing, Brad? How you doing, Sister Deborah? All right. Okay. So here we go. Book of Jasher, chapter 90. We're going to start right at verse 1. All right. Right at verse 1. I'm going to help you with some of these names. All right, but here we go. At the time of the 5th year, after the children of Yashael had passed over Jordan, after the children of Yashael had rested from their war with the Canaanites. So they rested with their war with the Canaanites. At that time, great and severe battles arose between Edom and the children of Taim, or what they would say Chittim. Okay, and the children of Chittim fought against Edom. You know, Miss Q. All right. So the children of Chittim fought against Edom. All right. Edom. Edom is who? Let's make sure we're on the same page. Somebody help me out. Who is Edom? Let's make sure we're on the same page. Right. Edom is who? Edom is, if we say Edomite, right? Esau. Right. We're talking about Esau. Okay. So, and one thing you got to realize is a lot of time wherever Israel is going to be, you're going to see Edom around the same place. So Edom is Esau, that Esau spirit. Remember, if you want to do some research, when we have this on our live sessions as well on YouTube, we talked about Esau, right? We talked about Esau and Edom, and we talked about Ezekiel 34 is, I'm sorry, we talked about Israel, yeah, and Esau, Israel and Esau, it's right. And we talked about how Second Esdras tells us that Esau is the end of this wicked system of things, or the end of things, and Israel is the beginning where Esau leaves off, right? Then we went to Ezekiel 34 to tell you Israel, these preachers of Israel need to start preaching correctly. We need to preach against the Esau spirit, Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 36, we can set a proper environment. Ezekiel 37, now the Israelite dead bones can rise again. Okay? So we talked about some of this already. How you doing, Miss Pierce? Right? Sister Mignon. All right, so let's keep on going. So verse 2, and Abianas, king of Chittim, went forth in that year, that is in the 31st year of his reign, and a great force with him of the mighty men of the children of Chittim, who Edom is fighting against, right? And he went to Seir to fight against the children of Esau. And Hadad, the king of Adam, of Adam, or Edom, heard of his report. And he went forth to meet him with a heavy people and strong force, and engaged in battle with him in the field of Edom. Okay. Verse 4, and the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau. So Chittim, who by the way is what? We just started off, Chittim is representative of Canaan. Amen. Esau would chase Jacob forever. Exactly. You're right with me, right? So Esau, so when you're seeing Chittim here, Chittim is representing Canaan, right? Israel has already defeated Canaan for the most part, but there's still some Canaanite presence out there. This Canaanite presence now is fighting against the children of Esau, right? And they prevail, but Chittim, or Canaan, right? This Canaanite force has prevailed over the children of Esau, and the children of Chittim slew the children of Esau, 220,000 men. 220,000 men. 200, well, not 220, excuse me. 220,000 men, right? And all the children of Esau fled before them. And the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad, king of Edom. So they ran over back to Edom and tried to get back to the king. Is that the same question that I already dealt with the other day? You didn't hear me, or you didn't listen to it? Okay. So, and the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad, king of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive and brought him to Abianas, king of Chittim. And Abianas ordered him to be slain. So the king of Edom was what? Was slain. How you doing, Tamaya? So the king of Edom was slain. And I'm going to go ahead and just, make sure that we get rid of this person so they don't come back. They obviously have nothing to do but ask the same question over and over again. So hopefully that person who already got the answer is finds what they're looking for. So here we go. So, and Abianas ordered him to be slain, and Hadad, the king of Edom, died in the 48th year of his reign. And the children of Chittim, so we're talking about Canaanites, The children of Chittim continued their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with a great slaughter. And Edom became subject to the children of Chittim. So Edom, Esau, right, is now subject to the children of Chittim. Now, somebody said, but you're supposed to be talking about Gentiles tonight. We are. Hang in there. Verse 8, and the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim and became one kingdom that day. Wait a minute. So that means that when Chittim, the Canaanites, that when Chittim ends up defeating Esau, they were defeated by Israel. Israel has defeated Chittim, or has defeated Canaan. Chittim is what's left over of Canaan. The Canaanites, they start fighting against Esau, right? Esau loses. Esau's king is slaughtered, right? Or Edom's king is slaughtered. Edom now begins to run and try to get away. Chittim breaks him down and basically utterly destroys. Now, once they've pretty much destroyed the people that are left, it says they basically became subject to Chittim or Canaan, and then they became one people. When you conquer a people, your goal is to make them like you, to bow down, etc. So when we mention Chittim, or when Canaan is mentioned, the Canaanites, now the ones who have been defeated, or the ones who were defeated by Israel, end up defeating Esau, and anything that's left of Esau is now Canaan. And remember, there's a couple things you got to catch here, right? There's a couple things you got to keep in your memory banks, right? We got to make sure that we put this in proper context. And how you doing, Sister Tori, if I didn't say so already, and Sister Sheba? Remember, Canaan, hear what I'm saying now, Canaan is subject to Shem. This is the curse that Abraham, or this is what Abraham has spoken over Ham's son, Canaan, because Ham walked in and saw his father's nakedness. So when he saw his father's nakedness, Ham spoke a curse, right? When he saw his father's nakedness, Ham spoke a curse. Since he did something that was wrong to his father had something happen to his son, so that his son would be a reflection on his father, right? He spoke something on his own son, basically on his own grandson. People said that Ham was cursed. Ham was not cursed. It was Canaan. And the curse was Canaan would be under Shem. Well, here we go. Canaan loses the battle to the Shemitic tribe of Yasrael, Israel, over Shem. Shem turns around, and Esau, who lost his birthright to Israel, or to Jacob at the time, but to Israel. And it says that Esau would serve Israel, and Esau would even chase Israel, right? Now here is here is Esau losing to Canaan. Canaan has already lost to Israel. Canaan becomes one with Esau. That means Esau and Canaan are one. So if Canaan is under the Shemitic tribe of Israel, that means Esau is under the Shemitic tribe of Israel. Okay? So that's why when we get to Ezekiel, when he says that those who are on the mountain, right, Mount Zion with Israel, Ezekiel 34, we should speak against the mountain of those that are of Esau, right? Those of us that are in Israel in Ezekiel 34, in Ezekiel 35, we speak against the mountain of Esau. Why? Because Esau is now Canaan. Esau is now Chittim. Every time you hear Chittim or Canaan mentioned at this point, you might as well think Esau, right? Not before Israel gets into the land of Canaan, but after such. Okay, it's important that you make that distinction. It's important that we know what we're talking about there. All right, everybody with me? How you doing, Mr. Shante? And we're in, both those who are coming on, we're in the book of Jasher. We're in chapter 90. All right, we just read the first few verses, and we're talking about tonight, who are the Gentiles? And we're going back to look into what happens here. So we're finding out who Esau is first. I know people are going to tell you this and tell you Esau's the white man and tell you all the things. Look, I need you just so we want to make clear. So Esau, that Esau spirit, and even the Esau tribe is literally underneath Yasel. Okay. All right. Now here we go. Verse 7. And the children of Chittim continued to pursue their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with a great slaughter, and Edom became subject to the children of Chittim. Verse 8. And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim, and became one kingdom that day. Verse 9. And from that And from that time, they could no more lift up their heads, and the kingdom became one with the children of Chittim. So it's saying they basically are not no longer by themselves. Verse 10, and Abianus placed officers in Edom, and all the children of Edom became subject and tributary to Abianus, and Abianus turned back to his own land, Chittim, which means now, once they've defeated him, Abianus has a setup where not only are you one with us, but you're going to pay tithe, you're going to pay tribute. Amen. You're going to pay tithe, you're going to pay tribute. All right. So now they're tithing, they're part of it, right? I put officers there. Everything that is of you, Edom, Esau, you now belong to us, Chittim, Canaan. All right. And when he returned, he renewed his government and built for himself a spacious and fortified palace for a royal residence and reigned securely over the children of Chittim and over Edom. They're both one. Verse 12, in those days, after the children of Israel had driven away all the Canaanites and the Amorites, Joshua was old in advanced years. Here once again, proving Yashle'el has taken over Canaan, right? So Chittim is the last holder of Canaanites. Any Canaanites are basically Chittim, right? All the other Canaanites have been driven away. So anybody we're talking Canaanite, basically at this point, we're just talking Chittim. And if you're talking Edom, Edom is one with Chittim. What's left of Edom, Esau, therefore, is Chittim. Okay. Verse 13. And Yahweh said to Joshua, thou art old, advanced in life, and a great part of the land remains to be possessed. Now, therefore, divide this land for an inheritance to the 9 tribes and to the half tribe of Manasseh. And Joshua rose up and did as Yahweh had spoken to him. And he divided the whole land to the tribes of Yashle'el as an inheritance according to their divisions. But the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance. The offerings of Yahweh are their inheritance. May I say that again? See, people be thinking we lie when we say this stuff, right? If you are a Levite, right, why you have nothing, no land you're supposed to own, nothing. You're not supposed to get any payment, right? Your inheritance comes from what? It comes the offering of the Lord, right? Really, it'd be the tithe, right? Are their inheritance as Yahweh had spoken of them by the hand of Moses. And Joshua gave Mount Hebron to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, one portion above his brethren, as the Lord had spoke through Moses. Therefore, Hebron became an inheritance to Caleb and his children to this day, right? To the day that this has been written. Verse 19, and Joshua divided the whole land by lots to all Israel for an inheritance as Yahweh had commanded him. Verse 20, the children of Israel gave cities to the Levites from their own inheritance and suburbs for their cattle and property. And Yahweh had commanded Moses, so did the children. As Yahweh had commanded Moses, so did the children of Yashle'el, and they divided their land by lot, whether great or small. Verse 21, and they went to inherit the land according to their boundaries. And the children of Yashle'el gave Joshua, the son of Nun, an inheritance amongst them. Verse 22, by the word of Yahweh did they give to him the city which he required. All right, Timnath Sarak in Mount Ephraim. And he built a city and dwelt therein. Verse 23, these are the inheritances which Eleazar, the priest, and Joshua, the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes portioned out to the children of Israel by lot and Shiloh, before Yahweh, at the door of the tabernacle, and they left off dividing the land. Verse 24, and Yahweh gave the land to the Israelites, and they possessed it as Yahweh had spoken to them, and as Yahweh had sworn to their ancestors. Verse 25, and Yahweh gave to the Israelites rest from all their enemies around them, and no man stood against them, and Yahweh delivered all their enemies into their hands, and not one thing failed of all the righteousness which Yahweh had spoken to the children of Yashle'el. Yea, or even Yahweh performed everything. Verse 26, and Yashavai, or Joshua, called to all the children of Yashle'el, and he blessed them and commanded them to serve Yahweh. And he afterwards sent them away, and they went each man to his city, and each man to his inheritance. Verse 27, and the children of Yashle'el served Yahweh all the days of Yahashua, or of Joshua, and Yahweh gave them rest from all around them, and they dwelt securely in their cities. Verse 28, and it came to pass in those days that Abianus, the king of Chittim, the king of Canaanites, the king of who? The king of Esau, Okay. And I'll be honest, the king of Esau, he died in the 30th year of his reign. And in the 7th year of his reign, Edom, right? Esau, right? And they buried him in his place, which he had built for himself. And Latinus reigned in his stead 50 years. Verse 29 is interesting now, because now you're going to hear a term that goes to Gentiles. And during his reign, he brought forth an army, and he went forth to fight a fight against the inhabitants of two words that are going to be interesting here, of Britannia and Cananea, the children of Elisha, son of Javan, and he prevailed over them and made them tributary. He fought a fight against the inhabitants of a place called Britannia. Amen. See, that's why I've been saying all the time. Yahashua is the second Yahashua, right? If you know, that's why I say all the time, why do they call him Joshua the Christ? They have the same name, right? Moses, Joshua, right? Or Moses, Yahashua, law of Moses, Yahashua, right? The Israel, right? Scattered, Yahashua is going to bring us back again when he comes back again, right? The same thing. Amen. Right? So watch this, verse 29. And during his reign, he brought forth an army, and he went and fought against the inhabitants of Britannia and Cananea. Both of these tribes, right, are both tribes that are Japhetic tribes. Ms. Matt, you will not believe this. I literally was thinking about, I have not heard from you in the longest time. How are you doing? I'm so glad to see you pop up on here. Praise y'all. I was literally thinking about you today, maybe like 4 hours ago. And I've been trying to change the way I schedule stuff. And I've just been trying to be like, yeah, I'm just going to start calling people to blast people just randomly and letting them just, I'm going to get out of this whole texting thing first, only type thing, and get back to just reaching out to people. Praise Yah. He answers prayer. Hallelujah. How you doing, Minister Morel Charles? So watch this. So we're in the book of Jasher, right? Here in the book of Jasher. Let's see. So Britannia Britannia ruled Britannia, but there was a people called Britannia before Britain, which means that British people existed before what you know as British people existed. Did y'all catch that? This doesn't say that they went all the way to the island of Britain. But see, people don't know this. For example, a lot of people don't know, people who are Celtic, Celtic people used to be all the way from Africa, stretching all the way up to Ireland. Now you just think of Celtic as Irish. It's bigger than what you might think it is. And there is a little bit of being possible imposters. I'll give you that, granted, because a lot of times people know about other people and name themselves that, right? Or they conquer somebody and just name them what they feel like naming them, or name them something that they're reminded of, right? But Britannia originally is a Gentile nation. And Cananea, the children of Elisha, son of Javan, and he prevailed over them and made tributary. And he heard, verse 30, he then heard that Edom had revolted from under the hand of Chittim, that the Edomites, who were supposed to be one with the Canaanites, actually found a way to get from under them. And Latinus, who was the king now, right? The other king has died. So now the king Latinus went to them and smote them and subdued them and placed them under the hand of the children of Chittim. And Edom became one kingdom with the children of Chittim all the days. From that point on, they were just Chittim. They were just Canaan, right? But we see that also these Canaanites, who Esau is under now, they went as a people and conquered Britannia and Cananea. Okay. So remember, I told you guys people don't believe me until when I say it. Remember, we had talked a while ago and I was talking about Hollywood. I was talking about Hollywood is actually the wands that people used to use. Like you see in Harry Potter and stuff, magic wands, that was stuff that Druids use. They use Hollywood. And I was trying to tell you that the Druids actually had a lot of stuff that they got directly from Canaanites, because Canaanites stretched and traveled many different places. So we talk about Yashtel being scattered. We don't talk about Canaanites are kind of influential all over the place as well, right? And a lot of the stuff that we get, including the straw man concept and context and stuff like that, that comes from Canaan, right? All that stuff came from Canaan. So when you hear this stuff about Britannia, this stuff traveled over, this spirit traveled over. So when you're talking about a Gentile over in what you now want to talk about Rome and other places, you have to also realize that you're dealing with Esau. Esau was ultimately conquered by Canaanites. So whenever you start talking about Canaan, after Israel has gone into the land of Canaan, any remainders out of Canaan are Esau, right? But also anybody who's of Esau, Canaanite, they also went with where Esau went. So if Esau is over Britannia, if Esau stretches their influence and stretches their people even into places like where the Druids are, matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this, but see, if you're going to talk about a Gentile, you have to also talk about the fact that the Gentiles, believe it or not, right? But King Herod, King Herod, who's mentioned in the Bible, and said, hey, when you find the Messiah, when you find this king, let me know where he is so I can worship him. We just talked about this with our children. Elder Maya was just teaching the children on this on Saturday for their Shabbat Bet Savar or Shabbat Bayit Savar or Shabbat Bet Sefer, their Shabbat school. And when we went and talked about it, when we went and talked about it, here's the interesting part. A lot of them, we talked about how he wanted to kill him. And I mentioned to them, I try not to talk too much because, I'll start talking. I don't want the children to get the Kofi rundown. I want them to get it from Elder Maya the way that she presents it, because she presents it very well. I was trying to tell them, though, that King Herod was not an Israelite. He was a He was a Gentile. King Herod was not an Israelite. He was a He was a Gentile. Right? So this would mean that King Herod is mixed with Canaanites. He's mixed with Esau. So this is when we have to be careful. So we just go, everybody's Esau, or sometimes we even go, well, these people that are down in Africa, the red people, they call themselves Esau, as some of them might be because they're mixed with some Canaanite stuff. But you got to know, in order to talk about Esau, and to talk about, right, Esau, who's in Africa, right, is Canaanite blood, but there doesn't mean that they are Gentile. Right? It doesn't mean that they are Gentile. And how you doing, Jojo? The gens of the Gentile are going to be the people who are Greek and Roman mix. Greek at first, and then some even Greek and Roman. Right? Caligula and Nero, both those emperors, they are both Gentile. They're both gens. Right? So that means that if you go back in their history, they have to talk about Gentile, that Druid connection over to Canaan, that Canaanite connection to Chittim, that Chittim connection to Esau. See how the spirit of Esau, right, we're still dealing with Esau, even though we call it Gentile there. The Gentiles there, you're talking about Esau. Right? If you're talking about Gentiles, there you're talking about Esau. Now, can you be talking about Esau down in Africa as well? Sure, but they wouldn't be, right? There's two different branches. So when somebody says, who are the Gentiles? Can you say that non-believers are Gentiles? Sure, but we can't oversimplify it to act like the bloodline doesn't matter, because the same bloodline keeps showing up against Israel trying to fight, trying to get back an inheritance that they gave up, trying to supplant righteousness with foolishness. You see, right? So when somebody says, who are the Gentiles? We have to go all the way back to Edom, and we got to go all the way back to Canaan. And we have to go all the way back to them being servants of Israel at one point. So it matters. Right? Now we can say, right, Britannia. Right? They're not just throwing random words out there. Who is Britannia? You see? Britannia is the tribe of Japheth. So even though you can say, sure, well, Esau was Shem at one point, sure. But Shem, right? By the way, who was Esau and Jacob's father. Right? This is a missing piece as well. Who were Jacob and Esau's father? Right? We know this. Who is Jacob and Esau's father? That would be Isaac, right? Isaac or Isaac. Okay. So Isaac gave word to his sons. He said, I don't want you to mix with those people. Esau still did anyways, but they were given a commandment not to mix with those people, especially people that were Japhetic as well. So they were disobedient. How you doing, Minister Tamer? See, so this Jasher chapter 90, the 90th chapter, we just read what, verses 1 through 21, something like that. Verses 1 through 20, at least somewhere in there, or maybe in verses 1 through 30, verse 1 through 31. But you see that you can start tracing, because Edom is Chittim. And if you know that Chittim is basically one with Canaan, then Canaan, if you know that it stretches over to the Druids, and you know that the Druids are heavily influential, and not only that, but also are mixed in with those that are Gentile, then a Gentile comes from, as an Esau spirit, and has the bloodline of Esau. So this is why it's really wild for an Israelite when they heard that the Most High, through his son, and then even through people like Paul and others, started talking about the Gentiles can come in. It was tough for us to swallow that pill, because this is a birthright issue for us. At least that's what it felt like. That's why Paul keeps giving comfort in scriptures. And when he says the Gentiles can come in, this and that, he keeps talking about, but I still, look, it's still my prayer that Israel be saved. Because he's talking to, he knows who he's talking to. And he's talking to his brothers. And his brothers is like, yo, hold up, wait a minute. Esau, are we sure about this? You know what I'm saying? Are we positive about this? Right? Remember, if any of the babies are on, and any of the parents that were on with the babies from Saturday, remember we talked about the fact in the video, Harry was talking about, please let me go worship, or see the child that I might worship him. But in reality, what was Herod saying in the video? Herod was saying, I'm the only king of Israel. Why? Because this is an inheritance thing. I'm trying to get this thing back. I'm the only king. I'm caping up for Canaan. This is Baby Bush trying to say, I'm gonna go and get Osama bin Laden, and or not Osama bin Laden, even, right? I'm gonna go get Saddam Hussein because of what he did to my daddy. This is that type of stuff, right? Like this is on some deeper level stuff. We just thinking, oh, okay, this guy was a puppet king put in place. No, like the Gentiles. See, the Caesar was the one who said, I want the census. I want the census. And then out of the census, we found out, well, wait a minute, there's somebody who's supposed to be the king. Well, wait a minute, now the one who's a puppet king, who's a family member, both of them Gentiles, they looking around like, hold up, we just got this back. We're not trying to let Israel have power. Right? Jacob's not supposed to. No, Esau just got this back again. The Gentiles just got this back. It's the same spirit. See how important this is? It's the same spirit. Who's the chosen one? It's the same fight we have now. Isaac versus Ishmael is the same spirit. Same conversation we're having, by the way. Is it Israel or is it Christianity? Same spirit. See, so I'm so glad that this was brought up as a question for tonight by the person who brought it up, because it's the same spirit. One physical, one spiritual, sure. But these physical people are carrying spiritual prowess, or spiritual vibes, or spiritual tradition, right? Esau comes out first. Jacob holds on. Jacob come, right? We see something come out, wrap something around it. See, it's the same fight. It's the same issue. Oh, you think you lost? Yeah, it's tough when you talk about it because people don't want to be, but it's the same issue, right? The same issue. There's a Gentile mentality versus an Israelite mentality. By the way, a Gentile can come in, they got to be grafted in. That means that you're going to have to leave the Gentile ways in order to become part of the Israelite nation. This is the word. We don't teach it because we're afraid, or we don't teach it because we have so much emotional stake at it, or we don't teach it because we know people will think that we're crazy, we might lose friends, family, whatever, right? But any man who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not worthy. Right now, can you see why we needed to go a while ago over that Ezekiel 34, Ezekiel 35, Ezekiel 36, Ezekiel 37? Second Esdras is it chapter 6, verse 9 or 9, verse 6? I keep getting that mixed up. Let me just go ahead and look it up. Let me look it up. Let's make sure I got the right thing. I think it's second Esdras, chapter 9, 6. Maybe it's verse 6, verse 9. Okay, it's 6, verse 9, I think. Let me look it up just to make sure. Because I know I say both of them. It can't be both. There it is. Second Esdras chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? Second Esdras chapter 6, verse 9. Esau is the end of the world. If you want to see what's going to cause the world to end, you got to know about the Esau spirit. You got to know about Edom. You got to know about the Gentile. Right? If you're going to keep following the ways of the Gentile, that's going to lead to the end of the world. But everything that's coming after it, that's Israel. Not second Esdras. Excuse me. Esdras. Esdras. Right? Second Esdras. Chapter 6, verse 9. The Esau spirit, you want to see, is going to be what brings everything to a close. But the Israelite spirit is going to be everything that lasts forever, right? You got to be grafted in, like it or not. That's the word. That's what your Bible telling you. He says, so they're Hebrew, but not Israel, right? Being in bloodline grants them some inheritance like Esau got. I mean, for sure, yeah. Some, just like Ishmael was granted some inheritance, more so because he was kicked out by Sarai or by Sarah, right? Sarah. But yeah, she was Sarai and then became Sarah. But yeah, same type of thing, right? Just like, right. So and look, it rains on the just and the unjust. And look, just because somebody's if Esau by bloodline, like I said earlier, right? So don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that just because somebody's Esau or a Gentile, they can't come in. They can come in, they can be grafted in, but you got to give up those Gentile ways. At first, look, because you're babes, we deal with that as babes. But once you finish on the sincere milk, at some point you got to get the meat. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, basically saying the same thing, Sister Monica. Yeah, for sure. Right? And how you doing, Tiger Mom? Feel like it's been a long time, Tiger Mom, for some reason. So if it has been, welcome back. Thanks for being on. Right? It's the same Tiger Mom I'm thinking of before. So I'm just telling you, it's the same spirit. That Esau spirit is the same thing. That Esau bloodline, same thing. When you're talking Gentile, especially specific ones that are brought up in the Bible, right? We're using the term Gentile, not realizing that we're talking about Canaan, which means that we're talking about Canaan, we're talking about Chittim. If we're talking about Chittim, we're talking about Edom. If we're talking about Edom, we're talking about Esau. See? Same one. Okay, cool. Welcome back. Right? You see, did y'all catch that? Let me say that again. So if we're talking about Gentiles, right? We have to realize we're talking about, like we could say Druids too, to kind of get you there. But if we're talking about Gentiles, we have to admit we're talking about Canaan. If we're talking about Canaan, we have to admit that we're talking about Chittim. If we're talking about Chittim, we have to admit that we're talking about Edom. If we're talking about Edom, we have to admit that we are talking about Esau. How you doing, Red? One more again. If we're talking about in this context, right? Israel, once Israel has taken over Canaan, Israel, this is what we read tonight. Israel, when we're at the position where Israel has come in, Joshua and is divvying up the land, as Yahweh said, the Levites don't get a portion, right? Caleb has gotten on top of Mount I'm about to say the wrong one. Is it Mount Horeb? I believe so, right? But he's got his family is on where they're supposed to be. Joshua has had some land divvied up from where Ephraim is. The other tribes have got what they're supposed to. Levi doesn't get anything because their portion is supposed to be from offering, so they don't own anything. And he set all the stuff in place. How you doing, Sister Betty? And now that all those things have been set in place, at that time, that's the time we're talking about. So Canaan before Israel shows up, we can't say, oh, you guys are straight up like we're talking about Esau there, right? Esau has not been conquered yet, right? But once Esau is conquered by those who have been conquered by Israel, right? Shem, Canaan serves Shem, and then Esau will follow and also serve Israel. The Canaanites, Chittim conquers Esau. They become one, and that group of people now are now under the Shemitic tribe of Yashrael of Israel, right? And these people have to be one. So once again, if we're talking about Gentiles, right? If we're talking about Britannia, remember that was something we read. Literally, the group of people that are called Britannia, the real Britons. That's why the people who are of Britannia, rule Britannia, you call them British, just like you don't speak Anglo or Anglo, you call it English, right? Kind of, sort of Anglo. Well, these people who are British, they're kind of, sort of. They are Gentile in a sense, right? But they're kind of, sort of. They're not real, right? They're not the original, rather. So the Britannia, right? Gentile, that's Japhetic as well. So Edom was not supposed, remember, Esau and Jacob were commanded by their father Isaac not to mix with these people. Esau ultimately would disobey. Right? Your mom is British, cool. Right? So the original Britannia, right? You're dealing with what kind of spirit? You're dealing not only with an Esau spirit, but now, come on, somebody, people don't want to talk about this, but you're dealing with a Japhetic spirit. You're getting a double whammy. When you're talking about a Gentile, you're dealing with a Japhetic bloodline and you're dealing with the Esau spirit. So those of you who know what I'm talking about, I don't even know how much more I need to say, right? But if you're dealing with somebody with that, so if somebody doesn't want to identify with that and start to break their generational curses, that's going to be a difficult person to deal with. That's going to be a very difficult person to deal with. I'm not saying that they can't break it. Yah can do anything. Through Yah, all things are possible. Through Elohim, through the Most High, everything is possible. But I'm just trying to tell you, you're dealing with the Gentile, you're dealing with a Japhetic presence, and you're dealing with a what? With a Canaanite presence, which is really what? A Chittim presence, which is really what? An Edom presence, which is really what? An Esau spirit. And 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 9 says, Esau is about ending the world. That spirit leads to the end of the world, but Israel is the beginning of everything after it. Right? Did you catch that? So the Esau spirit that you see now, you can start seeing the culture. Right? My wife and I were talking about this the other day, a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, we were talking about this with our son today. Why is it that you go certain places and everything's violent? Why is violence so upheld? Why is it that in order to be great in this society, we love the Jim Browns, we love the Muhammad Alis? I'm not saying these people don't deserve any love, but I'm just saying we love violence, or their culture loves it. You raised in it, right? We talked about this before. Ties are supposed to be something that you wear to make sure that you protect your neck from battle, or when your neck gets cut up, you can make sure that you tie it up, to bandage it up. That's why even some ties, the power tie is considered to be red. Why? Because blood might be when somebody has their stuff tied together, or in battle when they get cut, it might even be their tie might get, that would be, remember that I don't know, they wouldn't call it a tie, I guess, back then, or maybe they did, but what would be hanging down. Sometimes they actually had a little bow that wasn't like a bow tie, it was actually tied like a bow. But sometimes they would have like the ruffles and stuff that would come down. If somebody gets cut or something like that during a fight, it comes down, right? Like you're dealing with a very violent nature, a very violent spirit. Yeah, America loves cereal. You know what? Right? The Dahmer thing came out and everybody loved it. Everybody had rave reviews. This dude was eating our people up and preying on brothers that were already emasculated. And then once he got in prison, the part that they don't tell you is that when he got in there, I don't know if he ever got born again or whatever, but when he got in there, he told people straight up. He said, now that I've been in here locked up, he said, I realized that I'm jacked up, I'm messed up. And the thing that got me to this place is when I started not believing in the Most High. He said that. But he comes out of a culture that glorified him. He came out of a culture where women were sending letters left and right, hoping that they could be the one to claim that he was their, that they were his girlfriend, hoping to maybe touch him or have a conjugal visit. This is a Japhetic and Esau experience. Why? See, people act like tribes don't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who your people are. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There's a reason why people do what they do. Sometimes it can be simply because tribes eat a certain way. Have you ever thought about the fact that some people deal with stuff that you call being bipolar, or even sometimes what you call being racist, or different things like that? So that's not as simple as a mental disorder. Sometimes it's a mineral deficiency. If you're in places to where they don't have certain minerals that are part of their diet on a regular basis, guess what's going to happen? Like if you don't have enough zinc, or you don't have enough copper, or if you don't have enough potassium, or if you don't have enough iron in your diet, things like that, you start to become very violent. You start to have, what do you call it? See, you guys think that it's natural for people to act. You think like people are supposed to act. You think that drama is natural. Like people are like, I'm so glad that like Nollywood and other people are getting so much better at making movies. We didn't used to have drama. Why would you want to pretend to be something that you're not? Now, maybe we would enact things in different tribes that you had, and they might even, for people that believe in different spirits and stuff, and you'll see them dress up like that and stuff, and maybe try to pretend there's something like that, or maybe even to act like animals and things because they were even exercising, or they had fighting styles or different things like that they executed, or maybe they were animals they really respected. But to put on a whole play and pretend, and then start to say that those things that you pretend might actually be real and should be worshipped. See, where do you think comic book experience comes from? And look, I'm a comic book fiend, right? I had to back off some of it because of how much I was into it at one point in my life. I get the attraction to it because of the culture that we have and the escapism. But for real, like now, cats is out here trying to tell you how to live life based off of what Thanos had to say. Do you hear? You see what I'm saying? It's become dangerous now. Maybe you hear people saying this all the time. No cap, right? And I'm saying it the way that you say it because the youth say it more than anybody else. But no cap, you hear people all the time. You have people that wear T-shirts that say this. They say maybe Thanos was right. Humanity's so jacked up, anyways. Maybe Thanos was right. Maybe Ultron was right. If you even know who I'm talking about, right? They love Loki, the god of mischief. He's considered to be sexy because of his confidence, but he's a liar. He tried to kill his own father. I mean, it wasn't his real father, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, this is stuff that's looked up. You have to ask yourself, what culture does that come from? Where somebody says that a drama, put it on a drama, put it on fake. You hear what I'm saying? We've gotten so messed up. That was not our culture. We never had drama. Literally. I'm not talking about drama like y'all think about it. Y'all think drama means somebody getting on your nerves, but they're always trying to do. No, we never had drama. Drama is a Greek, right? A Grecian, a Gentile, a Canaanite, a Edomite, and Esau spiritual thing. You said you can catch all of them. Hey, don't say I'm far. I mean, it is what it is. I'm the one putting them out there, so obviously I know about them too, Lion King. How you doing, right? right? But I'm just trying to tell you all these things. Like we literally are dealing with an Esau spirit, a Canaanite spirit, an Edomite spirit, a Spartan spirit, an Athenian spirit, a dramatic experience. You said African divinities got down, kind of, sort of. If we go that route, then obviously we got to talk about Greeks changed it, sometimes bastardized it, just like Kemet was a thing, and then Greeks came and said we're going to make it this. Just like we used to have the zodiac signs, or what you call zodiac signs, because you're into the Greek now. But the Greeks got that and actually came when they came to Kemet and then changed it to Egypt, right? And Cleopatra, who was dark skinned by the way, but she was not Kemetic, right? Because we forget the Grecians, like the Spartans, King Leonidas more than likely looked like me. Maybe he didn't have locks and everything. As far as skin color, he would have been closer to me than he would have to whatever the guy is that played him, right? Right. But hear what I'm saying is like we've gotten to this place where we don't even look at what's happening and who it is we're dealing with. This is why it's important that you know who a Gentile is or who Esau is. That's why I said I'm thankful for the question that was given tonight. Right, pretending wickedness, but out of the yeah. And by the way, we said this earlier too. Not earlier in this slide, but earlier in the rising. So if you look on our YouTube channel, you look through our live videos, just look one live video earlier on the same day, right? You'll see another live video that comes before this that was given on the same day. We talked about this earlier, how if we're going to talk about the pretending of wickedness, Revelation chapter 13 tells you about the second beast. Remember we talked about that? And the second beast, we kind of sort of, well, we went pretty deep into it. We were pretty thorough. But the second beast is the second government. And out of the second government, right, or the second government, this government that people don't think about that much, it has the horns of a ram, right? And it speaks like a serpent. It has the voice of a serpent. So it has the voice of the devil, but it looks like a ram, and it says it has the horns of a lamb. So lamb, right? The sacrificial lamb was sacrificed, but started these things out. Greater things will you do, things that will be perfected, they will be matured. And what happens is we see something that seems like it should have matured from what Yehoshua the Messiah left for us. However, what we're really seeing is that we're seeing something that tries to present itself as the mature version, the perfected version of Yah, and in reality is nothing more than a serpent in lamb's clothing, if you will, who has the number of a name that gives us Neven Kosar, 603 score and six, right? So I'm just saying you have to be careful. So great question for tonight. Prayerfully, we got, like I said, it's not extremely in depth, but Jasher chapter 90, Jasher chapter 90, verses 1 through 30, 31, we read. And prayerfully, that helps you out. So that's, if you want to go down a further rabbit hole, we gave you other scriptures that we talked about, Ezekiel 34, 35, 36, 37. We talked about 2nd Esther chapter 6, verse 9, amongst many others, right? We talked about how the Bible talks about Esau's going to chase Jacob. We talked about so many things, but prayerfully, this helps you now, right? To where you can go do a little bit of rabbit hole, look up who Britannia is, look up who's Japhetic, look up who Chittim was, look up Canaan's involvement, look up Esau and who Esau became, because that's always the weird thing is everybody tells you, well, the Esau became the Africans here, or the Esau became the Romans, or Esau became all white people. It's like, no, time out. We can literally look at the Bible for itself at the time period that Esau had his first change from being known as Edom or Esau and finally changed it to something else. We know what that is now. Right? So a lot of people don't know. We know what that is. You see, so we know what that is now. So if you talk about Esau, we got to first be like, hey, okay, after a certain while, Esau was conquered by the king of Chittim, who was a Canaanite. Then another king came after him who reigned for 50 years. During that second king's reign, Esau broke away again. They boxed him in again. And this time they never were able to get from under that. They became one nation fully. And from that point on, anything that was Esau, anything that was Canaanite, anything that travels and becomes Druid, anything that travels and becomes Gentile, you're dealing with the same thing. All right. Anyways, thank you all for being on. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I got to get ready. I got a life coaching session. I'm going to try, or yeah, marital coaching session, excuse me. And then we got to get ready for tomorrow. Thank you guys who've been with us for a lot of the day, early riser Bible study session, live sessions. We appreciate you, those who we talk to. We look forward to coming tomorrow. Right now, we're using this week to finally take our leave from the series. It's been a blessing to us. This system is sus, and then we're using a series within a series that we'll be using, talking about we're calling, we're calling fathers. So we're going to ask we're calling fathers, inviting people to become fathers, finding out what that is, why it's detrimental not to have them, and why we need to make sure they're in place. All right. Is it daily? No, it is not. I'm thinking about possibly doing something around, it would have to be really short, but maybe something extremely early, and put it on Patreon, maybe, something like that. But if you join us on the, maybe having something where I'll maybe use the same link and maybe do it extremely early for those that want to get up every day. It will probably be even earlier than what in all honesty, it might be even earlier than what we already do, which is pretty early for some anyway. So you might want, right. But even if you miss it or whatever, we might, you can always ask for a link, but I'm not sure if we're going to do that. Right. Because that requires a lot more of me. And right now, I don't know if I have it in me, at least to do regularly. Right. I'm still trying to make sure we get this tier 2 thing jumping, and we're about to travel, for a little bit as well. Master Solomon's born day is coming up very soon. By the way, happy early born day in case I forget, Minister Tamara, right? Juneteenth. Is that the 19th? I don't remember if it's the 19th or not. Happy early born day. I salute thee. So I'll try to remember that. I can't remember if it's Sunday or Monday. I think it's Monday, right? The 19th. But happy early born day to you. And we appreciate you. So thank you, everybody, for being on. We appreciate you. Take care. Have a great night. I will be talking to a couple of you pretty soon. Other than that, we look for I'm a national holiday, really our holiday, not a holy day, but our day that we set aside traditionally, right? And now everybody's trying to claim it as an American this and blah, blah, blah. People biting out here. Anyways, though, appreciate y'all. You guys take care. How you doing, Sister Raina? You guys take care. Do great things. Continue to be a blessing to others. And we look forward to you guys. You guys keep us in prayer. We're going to be on the road a lot more at least the next week. Be on the road tomorrow. We'll be back here for a couple of days, and probably Thursday or Friday. I'm hoping really Saturday we can leave, right? But maybe Thursday or Friday we might be on the road. So for a few days up and down the East Coast. So you guys just keep us in prayer. And we're thankful and grateful for another opportunity to be in front of you guys again. We will be having a meeting for everybody at SOC. We didn't do it last week. So we need to have a meeting for everybody to get a couple of things down business-wise, and hopefully have at least a draft for you guys to look at. I don't know if you'll be able to have it, but at least I can read over parts of it as far as us doing the whole membership thing. So you'll be able to hear that through as well. And ministerial staff, I'm going to try to catch up with you guys if we don't have an outright meeting, at least talk to everybody and make sure everybody's on the same page. Some things coming up since I had to cancel our meeting at the beginning of the month. So I haven't forgotten about that as well. Don't forget, September 29th is fast approaching. So some people have already put their donations in. A lot of people even put their full donations in. Thank you so much. But September 29th, fast approaching. So, I'm going to try to even stop by while I'm down there to check on everything and make sure everything's still straight. So the time is coming. And I know a couple of you that I'm trying to just start calling people rather than scheduling things because my schedule's all over the place. So I'm going to try and just start trying to check in the due dates. I don't know if we have them online yet or not. I'll look and see if it's on the website. If not, I'll put it up there so I don't have to keep trying to come off the top of the dome. I think we had said that we need I think we said that we needed the final pay. I mean, if you need more time, let us know. I think we're asking for the final donations, like to have pretty much what we need done and secure by September the 12th. No, by August the 12th. But we, once again, talk to us. We just need to know at least by August the 12th where exactly we are. I've already taken care of the payment out of my own pocket, so at this point, some of it will be reimbursed. But for the most part, like that part's thing, but just as far as making sure certain things are done decent in order. So I think it's August 12th. I think we were looking to see if people could do half of it, depending on how many days you come. Obviously, is depending on how much half of it will be. But I think we were looking at asking for people to do half of it by July. I think I'm gonna change it, even if this is not it. I think we're gonna say July 12th half and September 12th full. I mean, July 12th half, August 12th full. And if you need more time or you need to talk to us about it, let us know. Okay. All right. But thank you all. I got to really take my leave now for real, because I got to be ready by 9:15. So thank you. Appreciate you. And you guys take care. I will talk to you guys very soon. As always, please check out my wife, the Out of Mind on TikTok, YouTube, website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And as always, it's been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, just that you are loved, you're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made in you, which is all of us working together. We'll be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Shalom.